7 major car brands will disappear from American roads within the next 5 years, and most people don't even realize it's happening. We're not talking about small, obscure manufacturers. We're talking about brands that once dominated showrooms and are now selling so few cars that dealers are quietly dropping their franchises. Mitsubishi sold just 87,000 vehicles in all of 2024. That's fewer cars than Tesla sells in 3 weeks. Infiniti's sales dropped 47% last year. Chrysler has exactly 2 models left, and one of them nobody wants. These aren't temporary setbacks or market corrections. These are death spirals that started years ago and are accelerating toward complete extinction. The automotive graveyard is about to get 7 new residents, and the warning signs are everywhere if you know where to look. Mitsubishi isn't just struggling, it's already dead. But nobody has told the corpse to stop moving. With just 87,000 vehicles sold in all of 2024, Mitsubishi has become automotive roadkill that somehow keeps twitching. To put that number in perspective, Tesla sells more cars in 3 weeks than Mitsubishi sells in an entire year. This isn't a brand in decline. This is a brand in its final death throes. The dealer exodus tells the real story of Mitsubishi's collapse. Since 2019, 40% of Mitsubishi franchises have closed their doors permanently. That's not market optimization. That's mass abandonment. Dealers who invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in Mitsubishi facilities are walking away because they can't make money selling cars that nobody wants. I had a Mitsubishi franchise for 12 years, explained former dealer Mike Patterson from Ohio. In 2023, I sold 23 cars the entire year. 23? My overhead was $47,000 per month, and I was selling 2 cars monthly. The math doesn't work when you're selling cars that people actively avoid. The Mirage represents everything wrong with Mitsubishi's strategy. Marketed as America's cheapest new car at $16,245, the Mirage should be flying off lots in an affordability crisis. Instead, it's sitting for an average of 267 days before selling. When people won't buy the cheapest car available, that's not a price problem, that's a quality problem. Consumer Reports gave the Mirage a reliability score of 1 out of 5, with owners reporting transmission failures, engine problems, and electrical issues within the first year. The car is so poorly built that even desperate buyers choose used vehicles over new Mirages. The Outlander failure is even more damaging because SUVs are supposed to be Mitsubishi's salvation. Despite being completely redesigned in 2022, Outlander sales dropped 23% in 2024. In a market where every other SUV is selling well, Mitsubishi managed to build one that actively repels customers. The service desert is creating a nightmare for existing Mitsubishi owners. With 40% fewer dealers, parts are becoming increasingly difficult to obtain. Warranty work requires driving hundreds of miles to the nearest dealer. Some owners report waiting months for basic repairs because parts are back-ordered or discontinued. My 2021 Outlander needs a transmission control module, explained Sarah Martinez from Arizona. The nearest Mitsubishi dealer is 180 miles away, and they told me the part is on indefinite back order. I'm stuck with a broken car and a worthless warranty. The final countdown has already begun internally. Industry sources report that Mitsubishi Motors North America has quietly stopped investing in new product development for the US market. The current lineup will receive minimal updates through 2025, with no new models planned beyond 2026. Mitsubishi's parent company has essentially written off the North American market, focusing resources on Southeast Asia, where the brand still has relevance. The American operation is being managed for liquidation, not growth. When a car company stops developing new products and dealers abandon the franchise en masse, that's not a turnaround story. That's a funeral procession. Mitsubishi's extinction isn't a prediction, it's an inevitability that's already in motion. Infiniti's 47% sales collapse in 2024 is the fastest luxury brand implosion ever recorded, and it happened while the rest of the luxury market grew 12%. While BMW and Lexus soared, Infiniti sank. They sold just 46,619 vehicles in 2024, down from 87,330 the year before. For comparison, Genesis, Hyundai's 5-year-old experiment, outsold Infiniti by 3,000 units. Infiniti, founded in 1989, is losing to a toddler. The reason? Nissan. Infiniti's parent company is hemorrhaging money, 99% profit loss, and is cannibalizing its luxury division just to stay afloat. R&D was slashed 67%. Marketing is non-existent. New models, canceled. Infiniti is being sacrificed to save Nissan, said analyst Dr. Sarah Chen. They're starving the brand to death. The $2 billion disaster known as the QX50 sealed Infiniti's fate. Its revolutionary engine turned into a reliability nightmare. Consumer Reports documented catastrophic failures before 30,000 miles. Luxury buyers don't tolerate that. They leave, and 77% already have. Dealers are bailing. I dumped Infiniti for Genesis, said former dealer Jennifer Walsh. Infiniti was a financial anchor dragging me under. The retreat from China, the world's largest luxury market, was the final white flag. Internal leaks confirm Infiniti will shut down by 2027. No new models after 2025. No contract renewals. Just a slow, silent death. Infiniti isn't failing because of the market. It's failing because it lost its identity, its reliability, and its reason to exist. Acura represents Honda's most expensive mistake. A luxury brand that nobody asked for, nobody understands, and nobody wants. After 37 years of trying to convince Americans that Honda can build luxury cars, Acura has become an automotive punchline that's about to become an automotive obituary. The identity void is Acura's fundamental problem. Ask any car buyer what Acura represents, and you'll get blank stares. BMW means ultimate driving machine. Mercedes means luxury and prestige. Lexus means reliability and refinement. Acura means nothing. It's a Honda with a different badge and a higher price, which is exactly why it's failing. The NSX nightmare perfectly encapsulates Acura's delusions of grandeur. Honda spent over $1 billion developing a supercar that lost approximately $100,000 on every sale. The NSX was supposed to establish Acura's performance credentials, but instead, it proved that Honda doesn't understand the supercar market, luxury buyers, or basic economics. The NSX was a vanity project that destroyed resources Acura desperately needed for competitive luxury vehicles, explained automotive analyst Dr. Robert Chen. Honda spent $1 billion proving they could build a car that nobody wanted at a price nobody would pay. The precision concept lie represents Acura's most recent attempt to reinvent itself. In 2016, Acura promised a design revolution with their precision concept, claiming it would transform the brand's identity and attract younger buyers. 8 years later, Acura vehicles still look like confused Hondas with angry faces, and younger buyers are choosing Genesis, Tesla, or actual Honda models. The dealer dilemma is accelerating Acura's decline. Honda dealers are increasingly questioning why they need separate Acura franchises when Honda vehicles often outsell comparable Acura models. The Honda Pilot outsells the Acura MDX. The Honda Accord is more popular than the Acura TLX. Dealers are paying for separate facilities to sell less popular versions of Honda vehicles. My Acura showroom sits half empty while customers line up for Honda vehicles, explained dual franchise dealer Mike Thompson from Tennessee. I'm essentially paying rent on a building to display cars that my Honda customers don't want. The economics don't make sense anymore. The millennial rejection is particularly damaging because younger buyers represent the future of luxury car sales. Millennials and Gen Z buyers overwhelmingly choose Genesis, Tesla, or premium Honda models over Acura. They see Acura as their parents' failed attempt at luxury, not as a desirable brand for their generation. Consumer research shows that 73% of buyers under 35 can't identify any meaningful difference between Acura and Honda vehicles. When your target demographic can't distinguish your luxury brand from your mainstream brand, you don't have a luxury brand. You have an expensive mistake. The 2028 integration plan is already in motion, according to industry sources. Honda is quietly preparing to absorb Acura's successful models into the Honda lineup, while discontinuing the Acura brand entirely. The MDX will become the Honda Pilot Elite. The RDX will become the Honda CR-V Luxury. The TLX will simply disappear because nobody buys sedans anymore. Acura's extinction isn't a failure of execution, it's a failure of concept. Honda never needed a luxury brand, and 37 years of trying hasn't changed that fundamental reality. Lincoln's slow-motion collapse represents Ford's most expensive branding failure, a luxury division that burns billions of dollars while selling fewer cars each year. With sales dropping 18% in 2024 to just 83,486 vehicles, Lincoln has become Ford's most embarrassing liability, a brand that costs more to maintain than it generates in profit. The Continental catastrophe perfectly illustrates Lincoln's fundamental problems. Ford invested $2.5 billion developing their flagship sedan, marketing it as a return to American luxury greatness. The result? Total sales of 12,012 vehicles in its final year before cancellation. That's $208,000 in development costs per car sold, the most expensive automotive failure in Ford's history. The Continental was supposed to establish Lincoln's credibility against German luxury sedans, explained former Lincoln executive David Park. Instead, it proved that Americans don't want American luxury cars, regardless of how much money you spend developing them. The Navigator niche represents Lincoln's only success story, but one profitable model can't sustain an entire luxury brand. While the Navigator sells well to wealthy suburban families, it's essentially a luxury Ford Expedition that costs $30,000 more. Lincoln's entire brand identity depends on a single SUV that most buyers could replace with a well-equipped Ford. The dealer defection is accelerating as Lincoln franchises become financial disasters. Luxury dealers require expensive facilities, specialized training, and premium customer experiences that Lincoln's low sales volumes can't justify. Many dealers are quietly converting their Lincoln showrooms to Ford commercial vehicle centers, or dropping the franchise entirely. I spent $1.2 million renovating my Lincoln facility in 2019, explained former Lincoln dealer Jennifer Walsh from Ohio. I sold 47 Lincolns in 2024. 47 cars couldn't cover my monthly overhead, let alone generate profit. I converted to Ford commercial vehicles and tripled my revenue immediately. The EV excuse has become Lincoln's latest attempt to justify its existence. But electric Lincolns face the same fundamental problem as gas-powered ones. They're overpriced Fords with luxury pretensions. The Lincoln Star concept promises revolutionary electric luxury, but early pricing estimates suggest it will cost $85,000 for technology that Tesla offers for $55,000. The China dependence reveals Lincoln's global irrelevance. Approximately 70% of Lincoln sales occur in China, where the brand benefits from import luxury status and government policies favoring American vehicles. But Chinese luxury preferences are shifting toward domestic brands like NIO and XPENG, threatening Lincoln's only profitable market. Internal Ford documents, leaked to Automotive News, reveal the 2029 sunset plan for Lincoln. Ford will gradually phase out the brand over the next 5 years, absorbing successful models into the Ford lineup, while discontinuing the Lincoln nameplate entirely. The Navigator will become the Ford Expedition Platinum, while other Lincoln models will simply disappear. The most damning evidence comes from Ford's own financial reports. Lincoln operations lose an estimated $400 million annually when accounting for development costs, marketing expenses, and dealer support. Ford is essentially paying hundreds of millions of dollars for the privilege of selling fewer luxury vehicles each year. Lincoln's extinction isn't about market conditions or competitive pressure. It's about a brand that never established a compelling reason to exist beyond Ford's luxury ambitions. Alfa Romeo's tragic beauty represents the automotive industry's most heartbreaking extinction story. Gorgeous cars that break so frequently they've destroyed their own market. With just 12,023 vehicles sold in the US during 2024, Alfa Romeo has achieved the impossible, building cars so unreliable that even enthusiasts won't buy them. The 12,000 tragedy puts Alfa's failure in stark perspective. Luxury brands typically need 50,000 plus annual sales to justify their existence in the American market. Alfa Romeo is selling fewer cars than most successful individual dealerships, making it economically impossible to maintain a national presence. 12,000 cars across the entire United States means most Americans will never see an Alfa Romeo, let alone consider buying one, explained automotive analyst Dr. Sarah Chen. You can't build brand awareness or dealer networks with sales volumes that low. Alfa Romeo has become automotive mythology rather than a viable business. The Giulia Gorgeous represents everything right and wrong with Alfa Romeo. Automotive journalists universally praise its stunning design and exceptional driving dynamics, calling it the most beautiful sedan in production. But Consumer Reports gave it a reliability score of 1 out of 5, documenting widespread electrical failures, engine problems, and quality control disasters that make ownership a nightmare. The Giulia is the most beautiful car I've ever owned and the most unreliable, explained former owner Mark Rodriguez from California. In 18 months, it spent 73 days in the shop for electrical problems, engine issues, and interior defects. I loved driving it when it worked, but it rarely worked. The Stelvio struggle compounds Alfa's problems because SUVs represent the only growing luxury segment. Despite being positioned against successful competitors like the BMW X3 and Mercedes GLC, the Stelvio sells fewer than 400 units monthly. In a market where luxury SUVs are printing money, Alfa Romeo managed to build one that actively repels buyers. The dealer desert has made Alfa Romeo ownership practically impossible for most Americans. With only 135 dealers remaining nationwide, many customers live hundreds of miles from the nearest service center. When your car breaks down frequently and the nearest dealer is a day's drive away, ownership becomes an exercise in masochism. I bought a Stelvio in Phoenix, but the nearest dealer is now in Los Angeles, explained customer Lisa Martinez. When it needed warranty work, I had to arrange transportation to LA, find a hotel, and wait 3 days for repairs. I'll never buy another Alfa Romeo. The Stellantis sacrifice reveals Alfa's corporate death sentence. Parent company Stellantis has chosen to prioritize Jeep, Ram, and Dodge over Alfa Romeo in the North American market. Resources that could improve Alfa's reliability are being redirected to more profitable brands, ensuring Alfa's continued decline. The 2026 withdrawal is already confirmed through internal Stellantis communications. Alfa Romeo will officially exit the North American market after 2025, with no new models planned and dealer contracts allowed to expire. The brand will retreat to Europe, where government regulations favor small, efficient vehicles over the SUVs that American buyers demand. Alfa Romeo's extinction represents the triumph of reliability over beauty, proving that gorgeous cars can't survive if they don't actually work. Genesis is Hyundai's $8 billion lesson in automotive hubris. Despite impressive engineering, Genesis never earned true luxury status and never recovered. In 2024, the brand sold just 49,127 cars. For comparison, BMW's 3 Series alone outsold the entire Genesis lineup. Luxury analyst Dr. Amanda Foster explained, "You can build great cars, but you can't manufacture prestige. Genesis lacks the generational brand value luxury buyers demand." Hyundai's bet on standalone Genesis showrooms only made things worse. With fewer than 4 cars sold monthly per location, dealers are drowning in red ink. One dealer admitted, "My Genesis studio costs $47,000 a month. I sell maybe 3 cars." Even the service experience undermines the brand. Buyers paying $70,000 for a Genesis often receive repairs at Hyundai dealerships using Hyundai parts. It's a luxury label stapled onto a mainstream ownership experience. The reliance on leasing shows how dire things are. Nearly 80% of Genesis sales are leases, heavily subsidized to mask low resale value. Hyundai isn't selling luxury cars, it's paying people to drive them. Industry insiders say Hyundai will fold Genesis back into the main brand by 2027. Successful models like the GV70 may survive under the Hyundai badge, but the Genesis nameplate and the standalone dealer network will disappear. In the end, Genesis proves one thing: you can't shortcut your way to luxury. Prestige takes decades to build, not billions to fake. Chrysler is the most tragic extinction story in the car world, a once iconic American brand reduced to just 2 vehicles. With only the Pacifica minivan and the now discontinued 300 sedan, Chrysler has become a ghost brand kept alive out of corporate inertia. Its success with the Pacifica is misleading. The minivan dominates only because most rivals, like Honda's Odyssey, have pulled back from the segment. As auto analyst Dr. Robert Chen put it, Chrysler's minivan win is like being the tallest building in a demolished city. The 300's quiet death in 2023 marked the final breath of Chrysler's relevance. No successor was planned, no marketing push, just a slow fade into silence as buyers moved on to crossovers and SUVs. Inside Stellantis, Chrysler has become a stepchild brand. All resources go to Jeep, Ram, and Dodge. Chrysler gets no new models, no campaigns, and no investment. Dealers are left with cavernous showrooms and 2 lonely vehicles to sell. I have a 12,000 square foot Chrysler space and nothing but a minivan and a discontinued sedan, said dealer Jennifer Walsh from Ohio. It's humiliating. Most dealers now use their Chrysler floors for service bays or used car sales because there's simply nothing else to do with the space. Internally, Stellantis has already made the call. Chrysler will be phased out after 2025. The Pacifica will be absorbed into Dodge. The Chrysler nameplate will disappear. No public announcement yet, likely to avoid tanking residual values. Chrysler isn't dying because of fierce competition or bad engineering. It's dying because it stopped trying. When a company only offers 2 vehicles and plans 0 replacements, that's not a strategy. That's a managed decline. This isn't speculation. The collapse of Mitsubishi, Infiniti, Acura, Lincoln, Alfa Romeo, Genesis, and Chrysler is already underway. These brands aren't declining, they're dying. When automakers stop launching new models, when dealers abandon franchises, and when sales drop below what top dealers move in a month, the math says extinction is inevitable. If you own one of these brands, your car is a ticking financial time bomb. Resale values are crashing faster than your loan balance. Once a brand disappears, parts dry up, service becomes impossible, and resale value drops to near 0. And don't fall for the dealer discount trap. A 40% markdown on a dying brand sounds great, until the $7,000 repair can't be done because parts no longer exist. The service apocalypse will hit hardest for Genesis hybrids and Alfa Romeo performance owners who rely on specialized components that vanish overnight. Even if you're not buying one of these brands, their collapse will shake the market. Their customers still need cars. Their dealers still need brands. Who replaces them wins the next decade. In fact, I've identified 5 brands that are perfectly positioned to absorb the market share these 7 failures leave behind. These aren't just survivors. These are the next dominators of American auto sales. Want to know which cars to avoid and which brands will explode as the rest collapse? Get my free guide. Avoid these 17 cars in 2025. It includes the dying brands, models headed for disaster, and the reliable winners that will survive the storm.